this video, we're going to talk about the two special types of angles that are created when two lines intersect. These two special angles are vertical angles and a linear pair. Anytime we deal with any angles, we need to be able to do two things: recognize the angles from a picture and tell what's special about those angles. So, how do you tell which angles are vertical? Vertical angles are not only across from each other, but they have to be the exact same size and the exact same shape. What's special about vertical angles? Well, if they're the exact same size and the exact same shape, they're congruent. That means they're equal. That means they're the same. So again, vertical angles are across from each other, the exact same size and shape. That's how I tell by looking at a picture I have vertical angles. And then what's special about them, they're equal. They're the same. So let's look at a picture. I have two lines that intersect. Some of these angles are vertical angles and some of them are not vertical angles. First off, 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are across from each other, and they're the exact same size and shape. See how much space 1 takes up? 3 takes up the same amount of space. 1 and 3 are vertical angles. 2 and 4 are across from each other, and they are vertical angles. So this is a simple picture where two lines intersect and you can tell which angles are vertical. Let's look at a different picture. Looking at this picture, we need to tell which angles are vertical. Vertical angles are not only across from each other, but they have to be the exact same size and shape. So I'm going to say 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are not across from each other, so 1 and 2 can't be vertical angles. 1 and 3, they're not across from each other, but 1 and 4 are across from each other. In fact, look at the space that 1 is taking up. Look at the space that 4 is taking up. 1 and 4 are vertical angles. Not only are they across from each other, but they take up the same amount of space. Let's try it with 5 and 2. Looks like 5 and 2 are across from each other, but look how much space 5 takes up. Look how much space 2 takes up. One of them is bigger than the other. 5 is bigger than 2. So even though they're across from each other, 5 and 2 are not vertical angles because they don't have the same shape. 5 and 3 are not vertical angles. They're across from each other. It looks like they're across from each other, but they don't have the same shape. So the only two angles in this picture that are vertical angles are 1 and 4. In this, they want you to find the measure of each one of these angles. The angles that are missing are these two. This angle and this angle have a degree measure. This is 100 degrees and this is 80 degrees. This is the name of these two angles. And they want you to be able to find the measure of these two angles. So what I'm going to do to find the measure of these two angles is use the fact that I know something about vertical angles. Vertical angles are angles that are across from each other and have the same size and shape. That means this angle right here and this angle right here have to be equal. That means if this one is 100 degrees, this one right here is 100 degrees. The way I write that is the measure of angle 1 is equal to 100 degrees. And how do I know that? Because they're vertical angles and they have the exact same size and shape. I can determine what the measure of angle 2 is because across from it is its vertical angle. These two angles are vertical. If this one right here is 80 degrees, that means angle 2 is also 80 degrees. The measure of angle 2 is also equal to 80 degrees because I know about vertical angles. The other type of angle, special angle, created when two lines intersect are a linear pair. First off, I need to be able to recognize a linear pair by looking at a picture. How do I tell which angles are a linear pair? It's two angles that form a straight line. And it has to be two. It can't be 3, 4, or 5 angles. It has to be two angles that form a straight line. So let's look at this picture right here and let's determine which ones are a linear pair. When I combine angle 1 and angle 2, I'm going to combine angle 1 and then angle 2, and notice I did not stop. I just kept going. These two, 1 and 2, form a straight line. 2 and 3 form a straight line. If I take 2 and 3 and combine them together, they're going to form a straight line. 3 and 4, they form a straight line. And 1 and 4, they form a straight line. Since they form a straight line, that's going to tell us also what's special about them. A linear pair are supplementary. If we remember what supplementary means, that means angle 1 and angle 2, these two measures have to add up to be 180 degrees. 2 and 3 have to add up to be 180 degrees. 3 and 4 have to add up to be 180 degrees. And 4 and 1 have to add up to be 180 degrees. So let's look at a different picture and let's apply what we know about a linear pair to this new picture. I need to determine which angles are a linear pair. A linear pair have to be beside each other and they have to form a straight line. So let's try angle 1 right here and angle 2. Let's see if I can put these two together and they form a straight line. So watch, angle 1, and as soon as I turned, I did not create a straight line. So 1 and 2 do not create a straight line. But when I try that with angle 1 and 5, let's watch what happens. Angle 1 and angle 5, when I put those together, I continue on a straight line. They create a straight line. Are 2 and 3 a linear pair? I start with 2 right here, and I turned and combined it with 3. No, they did not form a straight line. What about 3 and 4? I take 3, combine it with 4. Look, I had to turn. They are not a linear pair. What about 4 and 5? If I take 4 and combine it with 5, look, I continue on a straight line. Some students would say, well, hey, 2 and 4, those, if I take 2 and 4, it looks like I'm still creating a straight line. But I have this gap in here, gap of 3. Linear pairs not only form a straight line, but they also have to be beside each other. And 2 and 4 are not beside each other. 3 is in between them. So a linear pair have to be beside each other. They have to form a straight line. And when they form a straight line, they add up to be 180 degrees. Find the measure of each angle. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use all the knowledge I've gained so far about vertical angles and a linear pair to figure out what the measure of each one of these angles are. If we remember, angles that are across from each other and are the exact same size and shape, they're equal. That means if this one's 60 degrees, this one right here is also going to be 60 degrees. What kind of angles do I have here with 1 and 2? 1 and 2 are a linear pair. They're beside each other and they form a straight line. But what's special about them? That means this one and this one have to add up to be 180 degrees. If this one's 60, what am I missing? How many degrees am I missing to make up 180 degrees? That would be 120 degrees. These two are a linear pair. They have to add up to be 180 degrees. That means if this one's 60, this one right here has to be 120 degrees. Now I'm going to use vertical angles to figure out what angle 3 is. This one and this one are vertical. If this one's 120 degrees, this one right here has to be 120 degrees. Vertical angles are equal. Linear pair have to add up to be 180 degrees. These two add up to be 180. These two add up to be 180. These two add up to be 180.